Why would nobody tell you that you will outgrow the people you have in your life when you're trying to improve yourself or when you're trying to build something like a business or you're an entrepreneur? Why is nobody speaking about this? And I was in the exact same spot as you a bit over a year ago. You know, when you have this gray, dark feeling that nobody can relate to you, not in a bad or negative sense towards anybody else, but you just feel like you're on a completely new mission to everybody else. And I remember this one particular day, I hadn't actually been doing the laundry and the stuff that I was assigned to do by my mother. She basically said that you need to do this thing, and this thing, and I just didn't do any of it. I just sat and I stared into my computer screen for a few hours instead of actually participating in that. That would have just taken me roughly half an hour. And I remember she knocks on my door and she walks into my room and she asks me, why haven't you done this? I've reminded you so many times, and it's just tiring and overwhelming to say to you and remind you every single time that you're not doing these things. And I was kind of like off because my mind just drifted in a completely other direction because I was thinking to myself that I'm lonely, I don't really have that many friends, and I just buried everything into my YouTube channel at that point. It just became fuel. Work became a source of fuel to me. And I basically end up opening up upon these things, and I actually explained to her why I didn't really do it, and I used it as an excuse. I shouldn't have really done that now when I look back into it about a year later, but still, I felt extremely lonely. And how can we solve this? Because I felt extremely lonely, but now I've actually turned that into something where I feel like I have friends, I have a supporting network and people around me. And how can we solve this for people who either are on self-improvement or are entrepreneurs? Well, I've solved this, and I want to discuss a 4-step protocol that I have used to actually overcome this. So, now I want to discuss the 4-step protocol that I'm going to use. So it's pretty simple. How do we solve it? First of all, you need social skills. I remember that we were speaking about a few solutions, me and my mother, at this time, and she basically said, why don't you just set yourself an assignment to actually work with these things, because you're trying to improve yourself in various manners in life, but why aren't you setting yourself an assignment to try to improve your social skills? And indeed I did. I started to greet a few more people, and in my football team, for example, I haven't been very extroverted and talking to a lot of people before. So I decided to go out and do that for the first time. And it was a bit scary to go from this person who's more like, I wouldn't say introverted, but kind of like in the middle between extroverted and introverted. You're not always somebody who needs to take all of the place and everybody needs to sense that you're there. So I started to greet a few people. I just started to say hi to a few more people. And in school, I tried to talk to a few more people. Just do something that is a little bit uncomfortable, and you will literally just improve your social skills. And in a weird way, if you just improve your social skills, even though you feel like you have decent social skills, you will literally attract these things because your mind obsesses over something and that becomes the reality. It's kind of hard to explain these things, but in every single area of my life, when I've obsessed over something and try to attract it with action, then all of a sudden it becomes reality. A dog is barking in the background. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's very loud. I don't even know what is going on out there. So the second step, identity. You need to create a new identity for yourself. What does this mean? It simply means your perception of yourself. How do you currently perceive yourself? Because if you perceive yourself as an introvert, as a person who's not really extroverted or doesn't really have that many friends, you will not be the type of person who can gain a lot of new friends or can actually fit in with the people who are trying to improve themselves or who are entrepreneurs. So what you need to understand is that if you shift your identity towards this more social person who's more outside and speaks to more people, is more happy, I promise you that you do this. And how do we improve the perception of ourselves? First of all, you need to drop all of the BS habits that you're doing currently. So for example, the things that are distracting you and that are moving you into a negative rut and that just makes you feel dreadful because you're indulging in for example, scrolling, junk food, stuff that just feels very you don't want to do it, but you just do it anyway because you kind of feel addicted because you don't really have that many friends who can actually just push you and say to what's best for you, and you know to yourself what these habits are, and how you actually quit them is pretty simple. You just need a kind of like accountability partner or program, and I will discuss that a little bit later on how exactly I've found it and how you can do it as well. So the how you also improve this is through something called visualization. You simply like you play a mental movie like of yourself. If you like would imagine like that you're in a movie and that you're zooming out of your room and you're sitting there watching this video and you're in the beginning of a movie, then you start to envision the future of this movie and in the future of your own life. Where do you want to be? The complete B point. Try to understand all of the feelings, all of the actions that you're taking along the way to actually get to that B point. Try to feel how good does it feel to have this community, to slingshot it even further past your competition, just because you have even more people who are on the same mission as you towards bettering themselves. So it's pretty simple when it comes to identity. Define your B point, and also try to feel, and also be as specific when it comes to small stuff and small things like details. Just be very, very detailed when it comes to these things, because the more detailed you are, the more you will manipulate reality to actually become like in your favor, because it will shift in your favor, I promise you, if you just do this, because there isn't a lot of people that are doing this, and if you are the type of person who is, then you are very, very likely to get the results that you're actually manifesting it with. So now we've discussed how to improve your identity and how to improve your social skills. Now, what you need to do is like in real life, if you feel like you aren't really compatible with other people, you need to replace it with some sort of community and still social connection. For example, a friend online, for example, and I have the perfect solution for you. Because if you felt like I did in February of 2024, where I was miserable, I literally would just like cry. And I remember this one particular day, I wanted to improve my ability to speak on camera. I was just sitting in front of the camera and I was literally having this gut-wrenching like feeling, this pain, because I was so lonely and I felt so lost because I didn't have anyone. And nobody could like stick out a hand and help me. It would have been so valuable. And if you are the type of person who feels like you can relate to this pain, I've created a community of like-minded individuals. You can join it with a link in the description, and it will take you from feeling lonely to now you have a whole new community with people around you supporting you, active. You have literally step-by-step methods on how to beat procrastination, how to improve your mindset and your discipline and your craft. Just because you take that action step, you can afford it. You probably can afford it. You probably have the money for it. So why don't just invest in this? Because then you will have a support system around you. It's currently a pre-sale where we have half the price of what it's normally going to be, because it's in the startup. But when we do launch it, it will be double the price. So just grab it right now. I have already linked up a few people who are there already, so that you can actually gain a few people who you can talk to. I will also be very, very active there. I will help you out on your mission towards this, because I literally went from like lonely, crying in my room in February, to since in May last year, every single weekend, if I wanted to hang out with people, I could have done it easily every single weekend. But I have just done this because I felt like it was something gut-wrenching. It was like a pain that you couldn't take away and that you couldn't solve. But now finally I've done it. And also like, you can also start influencing people in your life. So now you just need to replace it with a community. And if you don't take action on this, I don't really know what you can replace it with, because it's very hard to find like-minded individuals. I've been fortunate enough to find some like-minded individuals, and still it's not totally there, but I've still managed to find a few of them that have been very, very high quality for me and had a very, very positive impact on my life. So now when it comes to dealing with these things, you just need to have an emotional outlet. And what an emotional outlet is that you have something some type of project or task or a person who you can take this emotion, kind of like convert it into logic. So for example, for me, when I spoke to my mother in like February, it was, I was not actually feeling that great. I'm just going to erase that pretty quickly. I was feeling like this, and what I did, I was just talking to my mother, and it was kind of like this emotion kind of like followed through with the conversation, kind of like let go, and it felt like a stone was literally like dropped out of my like stomach out into the ground, and then I could pick up that stone right here and put it into something greater, for example my YouTube channel. So it's kind of like you need to convert the energy into something, because if you don't release it and then put it into a new machine, for example, then what will happen is that it will just kind of like grow and expand and expand and expand, and then one day it will all explode, and it will be extremely overwhelming, very very hard for you to kind of like handle it then, because you've been stacking this emotion inside of you. So have a person that you can trust and that you want to talk to, and if you don't really have anyone, then what you can do is like you can journal, you can always like book a free call with somebody. Like I can even be like your personal, like the person who, if you don't feel like you have anybody and you just want to talk to somebody who just can listen, not, I don't even know how I'm pronouncing these words, but it doesn't really matter. But if you are the type of, you can also book like a free call. I will more than like enough. I really want to like help people out. I really want to understand people who were in the exact same places I were, and now want to take it to like gaining a social network and kind of like letting go of this old self and creating this new identity with their purpose. So you probably have something that you already feel like is very very purposeful. So it can be, for example, a YouTube channel, a business. It can just be, I can't even write. It's just like, it's horrible. Business, YouTube, it can be studying, it can be self-improvement slash like some type of growth project, like just something that aligns to your heart and just feel like you can express your authenticity via this creative task. So what you need to simply do is just kind of like grind on this thing, one, because now you've got unlimited time, and just try to learn as much as possible into a topic, because then you can also turn that into something valuable when you do get friends and do get people. Because imagine this, you're in a social gathering and somebody asks a question to everybody, and you're pretty comfortable with these people. You're in a social gathering and these people ask a question, a general question, and it's kind of like you want to break the ice a little bit more with these people, and perhaps they ask somebody, if you like space, for example, and like studying space and gravity and these types of things, and like how Earth was created or whatever, I don't even know, but like if you're more like on these types of things, and just a random question pops up, and you just kind of like, you know it, but it's kind of like in a casual way, you know it, you have very very much information, but it is in a very very casual way. And I'm like this type of person, because I love researching stuff, I love spending time on the internet. Perhaps this is a bit of a weird trait, but I embrace it. I don't really care, I just love doing these things. And whenever like we're speaking in a social event with my own friends, like this comes up literally every single time that we speak about like some sort of stuff, and I really really do embrace it. It's like people always refer to me as our friends group, like ChatGPT in that sense, because I don't want to come off arrogant or anything, but this is just their words. They simply say that you know everything, like in their eyes. They just, I don't know much at all, to be honest, I think. But like when it comes to like in these social gatherings, I know pretty much about some subjects that do arise. But it is important that you just embrace who you are. It seems a little bit lame, very very common advice, but just like embrace who you are and try to like polish this version of you. So for example, if you feel like you are kind of like-minded with me, for example, you're the type of person who loves researching stuff, just turn that into a positive. Every single one of your negative traits that can come off as a little bit weird, just try to turn that into something that is positive. So how we do this is pretty simple. You have a subject here, for example, you have a subject, you just need the social skills to actually know when to like manifest it and when to speak about it and when to be silent. So for example, in the beginning, I try to just be myself and be authentic with a new group of friends, but I'm a little bit more low key with this kind of like extreme sides of me that are very, very authentic, but I still do express some of them. So for example, when something arises, I can still talk about it if I feel like it's necessary. But the more you just practice being in a social gathering, the more you practice speaking with people, the more you will just gain experience in this. And kind of like everything in life, you just need to get enough experience. So this is my entire blueprint. Please go and join that community for your own benefit. Because I promise you that if you just join this community, you embrace your life's task, in a few months from now, in 90 days or 60 days or 45 or even 30 days, you will see a significant boost in your overall happiness, fulfillment, and growth. Because when you have like-minded individuals who are on your side and pushing you, you will just feel this tendency, this reinforcement to actually go and pursue what you wanted to do all along. So for example, it can be that business, it can be studying. You will have the courage to express that finally. So this is how I've dealt with the lonely chapter. If you want more videos on this, you can subscribe, whatever, comment. Just let me know if you want more videos on this type of topic. I really, genuinely hope that you got some value out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.